All right.
Oh,
And good morning,
Lords.
everybody. This morning, I've got Mario with us, and we're going to be talking about the group thread from the Young Republicans, the Young GOP chat Royals, New York, Washington. And we're going to talk about the utter hypocrisy of the outrage around this. And guys, I plan on trying to bring this conversation around to one very important point. On the right, we make jokes. On the left, they murder children. There is not a moral equivalency. Moral relativism is unacceptable. And it's time for you pearl clutching little bitches to stop apologizing to monsters for being correct.
Never apologize. Okay?
Mario,
It's something
you remember being in basic and you'd fuck something up, right? I don't know, you're just getting familiarized with your rifle and you drop a magazine trying to load it and drill sergeant jumps your shit. Dude, push. Your rifle's like a funky beat. Private, if you drop it, you got to get down with it. And you drop and you start pushing and you say, I'm sorry, drill sergeant. Did you just call me a sorry drill sergeant?
Yep.
Never apologize.
If you drop your rifle, you drop with your weapon. Okay. In particular, we would stack your weapons in like a pyramid formation. Okay, when you're going to go into the chow hall. All right, for
that is an exercise,
and that's something. It takes
a brilliant exercise.
It takes a few times before you master that one. Okay. One time we had our squad, our weapons like collapsed while we were in the defac, and then the drill sergeant comes running in like, "Oh my fucking God! Get up! Pick up your tray! You're done! Go outside!" and we go outside and we see like our pyramid of rifles is like scattered all over the ground. And we're like, "No!" It's like felony, basic training, felony. Okay.
You know what? The only thing I really got in trouble for in basic is I would laugh when stuff like that was going on because I was in my mid-20s. I was 25 or about to turn 25 when I enlisted. And by that time, we've talked about, I worked in like paper mills and oil refineries and shit before I joined the Army. So we'd have stuff like that. And I had that exact same experience where one of the towers collapsed, one of the stacks collapsed while we were in the chow hall. And yes, believe it or not, you can Shark Tank an entire company. It's an amazing thing to watch. But it would happen, and I'd see all these these 18, 19-year-old kids that just got out of high school, and they're falling apart emotionally, just devastated by this. And I'm just like, yeah, well, nobody's on fire, and I got to eat half my breakfast, which is something.
Yep. It's like some kind of like hysterical pagan devotion, like looking at like a fallen tower of weapons, and it's as if it's like a bunch of Hindus standing around a fucking Ganesh idol where one of the arms has fallen off, and now someone has to fucking self-immolate as a result.
Sergeant Major says, "I tried to push California to China." He would. So Mario, you know where DLI is obviously, and you remember Fort Ord, right?
Yeah.
So when Sergeant Major went to DLI, he did basic at Fort Ord.
Right. Yeah, I know.
They just straight marched his ass from basic to the Presidio. But yeah, tried to push California to China. We'll have to get him on sometime to tell the story of the story of marching around the formation with his rifle saying, "I'm a shitbird. I'm a shitbird."
Poor Sergeant Major didn't get his ride on a silver jet. So sad. Okay. Anyway, so we went completely off the rails right from the start. All right, so
completely.
Let's try to bring it back.
So let's bring it back.
This is what our story is.
Hey, Mario, bump your mic up.
I'm congested today. I'm trying not to have people hear me breathing all over myself.
Yeah, well, we want to hear you speaking, and yeah, we're gonna get guys. We're gonna get Mario a new microphone.
Yeah, how about buy me a microphone? Let's be like those other streamers.
Shut up a minute. Shut up a minute, Mario.
You offended me.
Listen. We're gonna get Mario a good new microphone in the nearest term. And if you guys want to help with that and stop hearing me say, Mario, fix your fucking mic, Mario, right?
Yep.
Then just gift somebody a free subscription, right? Just every time one of you guys gives a free subscription away to somebody else in the chat, it goes out at random to anybody who's signed in, watching live, and currently chatting. And that right there will help us get Mario off the shitty headset. So,
well, can't we be like those?
This Politico article.
Right. Okay. So, leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. All right. They refer to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believe support slavery. Okay, so what we have here for people who either who did not, for people who are older than Chris and I, okay, who did not have the internet for half their life. All right. What you need to understand is we are talking about shit posting, okay? This is called shit posting. It is when you're posting stuff intentionally to be edgy, okay, edgy, funny, all right, offensive, for the sake of drawing a reaction, all right? And it's something that you do on like anonymous message boards or in a private chat, okay, that you have just between you and your friends, all right? Telegram is a peer-to-peer encrypted chat, just like Signal is. All right, so you have a reason to believe that you have some level of like anonymity. All right, when you're using such chat services, right?
Well, so not. Let me correct that, and it's an important correction. It seems like a small detail to the layman, but Mario, you'll understand the distinction. Not anonymity, but rather communication security, ComSec. So the people in the chat know who you are. And it's not that the people outside the chat don't know who you are. It's that they don't know what you're saying. That distinction is important because assuming that peer-to-peer encryption is an adequate measure of comm security, which for most stuff that a civilian is going to deal with, it absolutely is. The problem, right? The crack in the armor, the chink in this particular Chinese-made armor is that you may not be able to 100% trust everybody who's been included in the group chat.
Right. We're going to get there.
Like we often reference the infamous thread.
Right.
That's a group chat.
So these chats are taking place within the Young Republicans, all right, which is a national organization that recruits people between the ages of 18 and 40, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Young Republicans, 18 to 40, kind of shows you how geriatric the party is, right? And how poor a job the GOP has done for youth outreach. All right, the actual young Republicans are Turning Point USA, okay, or the people of the Groyper Army, all right, who appreciate Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes' political discussions. All right, so Groypers
Nick
and
Fuentes
USA,
is a political genius. Don't get
he is. He really is.
I don't even agree with. I don't agree with everything Nick Fuentes says. Don't have to. That's the beauty of being individuals and having liberty and prosperity. But as a political strategist, a political analyst, and a political thinker, that's a sharp kid.
And is at the ceiling, okay, at the floor, okay, at the lowest case scenario, he is essentially future Tucker Carlson, okay, at the least. Anyway, so Young Republicans, 18 to 40, all right, nationwide. So they have their own internal group chat, all right, where you can basically just shitpost, all right, where the point is, it's like, this is where we don't have to be like religiously upholding like OPSEC, okay, operational security, you know what I mean? Where we can just kind of let our freak flag fly and post memes, all right, post edgy stuff, and basically be funny, all right? So what happened? Yes, you are secure in this, all right, unless you have a traitor in your midst, all right? And that's precisely what happened. Individual representative of the New York Young Republicans, New York City Young Republicans, individual by the name of Gavin Wax, all right? And is Aaron Olson here today? Oh, Aaron Olson is not here. That's too bad. Because, yes, Aaron Olson, yes, he is. He is an Aaron Olsonite. He decided that he was going to take 7 months worth of this chat log, okay, and hand that over to Politico, which is a leftist publication. Hand it over to Politico, so that they could expose everybody. All right. So one individual, one traitor, Gavin Wax, handed over 7 months. Now, Chris, can you? We have our own internal group chat. Okay. You've referred to it several times on the program as the notorious thread, right?
The infamous thread. Yes.
The infamous thread. Yes, the infamous thread. And a lot of the material in the infamous thread
I call it the infamous thread because the acronym is TIT.
Okay, that works. So,
and I like
the infamous,
tits.
Yeah, as you should. All right. So, can you imagine 7 months of the infamous thread having been screenshotted and handed over to some like liberal publication? All right. So, it's like 72,000 messages that were handed over to Politico over the span of 7 months, right? So a total and absolute betrayal by Gavin Wax. So Politico's going to try to milk the story out for as much as they can, and the Democrat Party is like super focused on this, all right, right now because they basically have no other cards in their hand to play, all right. The Democrat Party is essentially politically defunct at present, okay. They have nothing to run on, and the GOP really has nothing to run on either, save for content creators and pundits, all right, around it who are basically holding the message together for the GOP. The GOP is effectively a useless organization, but we have like a groundswell of political momentum, all right, that's kind of forcing this juggernaut essentially in the right direction. So 7 months of the logs released. Now, William Hendricks. Okay, let's get into some of the individual stuff. They're posting stuff like the N-word. Okay, racial slurs. Vice Chair of the New York State Republicans referring to rape as epic, and Peter Junta. Peter Junta is the one receiving the most flack. Okay. The reason that Gavin Wax actually released 7 months worth of chat log is because Gavin Wax was pissed off that Peter Junta actually got a photo op with President Trump and he didn't. Literally, it's that petty. All right. So he's probably steaming because he is a small hat and didn't like some of the edgier stuff posted on the group chat. So he used that as and then coupled with the fact that he didn't get a photo op that he wanted with President Trump. So he decided to leak out 7 months worth of logs, all right, showing everybody basically posting what would be politically suicidal, all right, if taken outside of the context of a group chat where people like to shit post, okay, and post memes. So Aaron Olson says sounds like Gen Z humor. Yes, millennial, but yes, and Gen Z,
and Gen X, really. I mean, we grew up with dead baby jokes in middle school, right? Everybody thought they were being clever and edgy when they were 10 years old and telling jokes about putting babies in microwaves and blenders. That always aggravated the shit out of me, even when I was 10 and 11 years old. But they were popular jokes. There were books of these dead baby jokes, right? And that's a whole other rabbit hole about the euthanasia industrial complex that is the left. But Mario, you mentioned okay. Here's what I interrupted you for. I'm sorry. You mentioned that any one of these statements would have been political suicide. I want to caveat that only if you're on the right, because I'll remind you that around the time of the baseball game mass shooting, where a Bernie Sanders not supporter, not voter, no, A fucking staffer went with the explicitly expressed and stated intent to murder every House Republican in one fell swoop, right? Around that same time, we also saw some leaked internal communications from that group. And they were things about sending all conservatives to re-education camps, put them in the gulag, right? Wipe them out, kill them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a big damn difference because you can tell the difference between somebody making jokes and somebody making threats.
Yeah, of course.
Right? The statement, we should put all Republicans in concentration camps, in re-education camps, right? That's we should take X action. Whereas the comments we see in this group thread, you're giving nationals too much credit and expecting the Jew to be honest. That's clearly one where there's a Jewish guy in the conversation and they're giving each other a hard time. They're teasing each other, right? If we ever had leaks of this chat, we would be cooked for real. Yeah, obviously. Yep. Also, we're officially under consideration for a Trump endorsement as a response to I'm ready to watch people burn now. That I'm ready to watch people burn now. That's not an uncommon black pill sentiment in the middle of what's going on. Oh, that's right. A shitload of left-wing violence, murders, riots, assassinations, ambushes.
One of the guy posted 1488 with an explanation of what it meant. So he wasn't even saying he was literally explaining it to someone else in the chat who did not understand the meme. Okay, like shit like that. But yes, so something like this happens, all right? And this is the cycle that we need to break, okay? Which Chris referred to, talked about earlier. So once this was revealed by Politico, your typical establishment GOP went into a pearl clutching tizzy, all right, and like, I disavow, and they're all fired, okay, all fired from the job,
yep.
All right. GOP goes into a self-flagellating tizzy, okay, like scourging themselves before the liberal media. All right, the New York representatives Stefanik and among others, Stefanik and Rob Ort, who's the Senate Minority Leader, they denounced the chat, denounced everyone. So effectively, they have been due to political sabotage. All right, by a Jewish member of the group. They've all been essentially, effectively unemployable in politics going forward. All right. Here's the thing. You don't never apologize. You should never apologize when something like this happens. If something embarrassing, if private communications get revealed, the worst thing you can possibly do is to apologize, because the left doesn't care if you're sorry. Okay, they want you dead. They honest to God want you dead. They want you removed from public life. They want you hungry, all right, miserable, unemployable, and essentially cast into the dregs of society. What the Democrat Party wants, if you get exposed with anything racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic, etc., all right, if your communications are compromised, all right, and you basically let down your guard and basically shitpost for a while, they want you living under a bridge, all right, and addicted to fentanyl and dead. So never apologize. The correct response, if something like this were to happen, so Patrick brings up a funny thing. He says the infamous participation in the infamous thread disqualifies all members from ever holding elected office. Okay, yes. If somebody were to use that as blackmail, then yes, that could be compromising. All right, but if I was running for office, all right, and my internal chats, okay, our group chat was revealed, just like these young Republicans, the correct response is to double down or triple down. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody started tweeting me, all right, after my communications were released, wanting to know an explanation or basically criticizing me, clutching pearls, succumbing to the vapors, right? Having an emotional screed against me, my response would be a single word, all caps, that begins with the letter N. Again and again and again. All right. Never apologize. Double down and triple down. That is, see, the boomers are on their way out. Okay, as far as political capital is concerned. All right, as far as the ground roots capital is concerned within the Republican Party. All right.
Yes.
Anyone our age and younger understands that basically saying edgy stuff in a group chat is not the public record, and it's not stuff that it's not stuff that we should be focused on or even care about. Okay, it's like because what level of surveillance do you really want to live under? Do you want to live under a surveillance state, a media surveillance state, a a sabotage surveillance state where everything you ever said can be dragged out? Like, do you want to live in a no fun allowed society? Okay, is that what you want to live in? No, we don't. So there's kind of an understanding amongst each other that don't reveal people's private chats. Okay, don't reveal people just having fun with their friends. All right, and if you betray your friends like that, if you were to reveal their chat logs, if you were to use that to blackmail them, you are the worst form. You are the worst form of what I would call the modern internet traitor that I can imagine. All right, and yeah, I can never be president because Cameron will release everything I said in this chat. All right, that's why I can never, because I know Cameron would, because Cameron is a confirmed traitor. All right, we all know everyone in the infamous chat. All right, in the infamous thread, that one day on a long enough timeline, Cameron will have like an Anakin Skywalker traitor arc, all right, where he will ruin us all. And it's unfortunate. It didn't have to be this way, Cameron, but you chose this. See, exactly. Now we're forced to go to extreme measures by sending the Jigglyplums of this world after you. Okay. Anyway, it's cool, Cam. You know I love you.
And right. let me say this about this particular group chat. Not ours. In fact, you cannot say this about our group chat. Milo Yiannopoulos made a comment when this article came out, and they list they use racial epithets and make unacceptable jokes and this, that, and the other thing. Apparently, across 7 months, with what are we looking at? A dozen people in this freaking group chat. Yeah. There were roughly 250 jokes of poor taste made, uses of slurs, etc., including the N-word with the AH. And Milo Yiannopoulos commented on it and said, "Really? 251 slurs and not one hard R? Boys, I'm amateur disappointed."
Yeah, exactly. And the thing, and they're even critical. They're even critical of Trump as well. Okay, they're like, sorry. Anyone? Do we have a press statement from Trump, from the executive or something? They'd be like, nah, Trump's too busy burning the Epstein files. Okay, like, so
right.
It goes both ways. All right. All right. So.
Yeah, like, I mean, we're rough in our chat, and we're critical of Trump at times. I mean,
of course.
To kick Mario off the screen for a minute, big fans, right? But big fans don't mean perfect.
No,
right?
Not at all.
He may be my favorite president, but that's that doesn't make him Jesus.
Yeah, and the left doesn't understand that. Like, even like, we have a lefty in my family, okay? And if Trump does something actually legitimately retarded, like, I'm immediately criticized. Well, what do you think about that? Your leader did this. I'm like, no, I don't agree with it. He's fucking retarded. She's like, well, like, she doesn't quite understand. I'm like, just because I voted for the guy doesn't mean I worship him. You understand that?
Right. Well, they don't understand that. They don't understand that. They legitimately have still to this day have a massive savior complex centered around Barack Obama. Like, you guys know I shoot a lot of real estate photography, right? I shit you not. Something around 40% of nice homes that are owned by black families that I shoot around Metro Atlanta, they have an Obama altar.
God damn.
I'm not kidding. And a lot of them have it's like a fucking altar, like you'd see in North Korea for the Kims, right? It's a table with his portrait and some knickknacks, doodads where they went to one of his events or something, or it always has a copy of what is it, Dreams of My Father on the table, like it's the pulpit, the dais with the Bible on it, right? And
that's horrifying.
And Mario, a not insignificant number of these guys have a house that's large enough that they have an additional bedroom or an additional large closet, and that's where the altar is.
Whoa!
Like a fucking temple in the house.
So instead of having a cuck shed, they have an Obama room. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they put out the plate,
which is the same thing.
Is there a plate with a lemon wedge and salt on it for
God, Jesus?
Yeah, that's
every time I see a slice of lemon and a pillar of salt in the same place, I get a little misty.
Yep. Anytime if I went in a room like that, my inner crusader would start activating, like, heresy detected. Smash the altar. Right. So most of the conservatives, okay, of course, condemn them, distance them, and give in to the left's call to cancel, silence, and eliminate. All right, that's the majority. However, J.D. Vance, though his response wasn't perfect, he I think he did a good job threading the needle on this one.
I think it was nearly perfect. And Mario, before you read that, let me say this. I want to remind you guys, and this was from the very beginning when Trump picked J.D. Vance. I generally like the guy, right? He's a veteran, right? He's a Southern boy. There's a lot to like there, but he was a never Trumper. I've been extremely critical of never Trumpers and will continue to be. I really have a hard time having real trust in somebody who's a complete never Trumper. And I'm not a big forgiveness guy. I'm not big on forgiveness or absolution. But I do believe that even though it must be hard, it must be challenging, it must be earned, there should almost always, there are some sins that cannot be recovered, but there should be a road to redemption. More directly, more correctly, there should be a path for one to pay the debt, right? And I think there's a good case to be made that by running with Trump and becoming an excellent vice president, he has made whole the victim of his inadequacy from being a never Trumper. And yeah, this response, Mario, I mean, take it away, brother, because yeah, his response was right on. Almost perfect.
This article
doesn't. Oh, did you lose it?
Article doesn't actually have the tweet.
It did.
Did it? So JD Vance says this is. I don't have what JD Vance.
Oh, here it is. Okay. He says this is far worse. It doesn't have it as a tweet. It just has it in the text of the. He tweeted, "This is far worse than anything said in a college group chat," and the guy who said it could become. So basically, he's talking about the J. Jones text. We'll get back to that.
Right.
But he says this. So in reference to the J. Jones text, in comparison to this text thread, he says, "This is far worse than anything said in a college group chat, and the guy who said it could become the AG of Virginia. I refuse to join the pearl clutching when powerful people call for political violence."
So what JD Vance is basically saying is what we were saying. Okay, exposing someone's private chats. Okay, where they're essentially shit posting, and JD Vance is our age, so he understands what shit posting is. Okay, this is like an internet. It's an internet decorum issue between the old and the young within the GOP. All right, and it's a distinct lack of understanding of just how internet culture works. So, what JD Vance is pointing to is, yes, of this guy running, the Democrat running for Attorney General in Virginia. All right, and in released text from him, he's actually calling for the death of his political opponents' children because it will motivate political action. Okay, now that's far worse than anything that was said tongue in cheek. Okay, any shit posting that was done on this private Telegram thread. Okay, um, and furthermore, the other people who have come out in defense of them within our circle have pointed out the obvious, right? Like, okay, so if you're going to demand that action be taken against these young Republicans for what they said to each other in their little sandbox, okay, where they get to play and have fun, right? Why don't you go ahead and show us what was going on in your internal threads on the day that Charlie Kirk was killed? Okay, go ahead. I dare you.
I've got a better one for you. If these little quips and jokes are enough to condemn and ruin men's futures, take their careers away from them, etc., why is Chuck Schumer walking free?
Yep. Well, yeah.
The reap the whirlwind comment, attack the demands to attack them in public spaces, and this most recent one, rise up forcefully against Republican policies. We're organizing in GOP-led areas. We're sending protesters. He said this explicitly. We're sending protesters to conservative neighborhoods to cause problems. We want you to rise up forcefully against. How is this man still free?
Or Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters. Like this is a proud tradition of the Democrat Party. Okay, of encouraging political violence.
Nancy Pelosi, I mean, if you want to find the leaders of Antifa, the organizers, the people who give them their marching orders, it's Nancy Pelosi, it's Chuck Schumer, it's Maxine Waters, it's Bernie Sanders, it's Barack Obama, it's Joe Biden.
It's not Joe Biden.
It's Kamala Spit Roast VP Harris.
Yep. So
the first spit roast American to be elected to high office. No, that's
she elected. She wasn't elected.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good one. Actually,
that administration was not elected. So
isn't it the case? Wasn't she like appointed or and that's the whole thing. Yeah. I don't think she's ever won an election. But anyway,
there were some questions.
Now I've completely lost my train of thought.
I know. Well, there were serious questions about her.
That's what I was going to say. She's not the first. California. She's not the first spit roast American to be elected to high office because Obama was elected.
Yep. Hey, good morning, Mystic Mexican Misfit. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. All right. So, yeah. Anyway.
Oh, he's a troll. He's.
I know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So I guess bottom line here, and viewer count's really low today, which means that this is a swing and a miss on my part. That's fine. I get it.
That's okay.
But yeah. So I guess in conclusion, kind of what I want to say is when something embarrassing and private gets exposed, okay, it's only ammunition that can be used against you, honestly, if you allow it, okay? If you let it, it's like the sticks and stones might, break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Really, it's something similar to that, all right? So if your stuff gets exposed, never apologize, okay? Double down and don't allow this tactic, because here's the thing: for people Chris and my age, okay, in our mid 40s, okay, and anyone younger than us, all of us, all of us are compromised in this capacity, okay, just as these young Republicans are. Every single one of us has like racy group chats, okay, um, maybe something compromising on your search history on the internet, okay, and as we move into an age, as we move into like the Palantir age, where all of this stuff can be accessed at the push of a button, everything you've ever done online, and little target packages can be just basically made by AI in seconds against you for anything you ever did on the internet. All right, that's coming. That's coming. So we have to come to a mutual understanding that this type of warfare, okay, this type of political and psychological warfare is effectively needs to be considered mad policy, mutually assured destruction, because everybody's guilty, okay, which means if everyone's guilty, then no one's guilty, okay, if everyone's racist, then no one's racist, okay, do you understand? So that is the correct mentality going forward
If
about when stuff
everyone's
like this
degenerate,
happens.
then degeneracy is not.
Yeah.
And so let me put this out there, and then we'll put a button on it. What you're talking about, Mario, the age of Palantir, the age of AI being able to put together a target packet on somebody and ruin them. Let me clarify what Mario's saying, and this may actually be, I don't know, Mario, you may not realize what I'm about to explain, but what Mario is talking about, that whole age of Palantir at the click of a button target package, let me clarify something. Seriously. That's capability.
That's real.
No, it's worse than what you just described. That capability already exists and is available to anyone who has a higher level of technical understanding to employ the available assets. What Mario is describing is a near future state where that technology is as ubiquitous as your cell phone. Where it's not just that the technology exists, but that literally anyone without any skill, without any technical proficiency, can use a user-friendly app and generate a target baseball card, which is, that language, a target baseball card. That's one of those if you know things. But let me tell you, if someone who has an interest in your downfall, in your demise, has your target baseball card, then the number on your days is literally at their convenience. That's what the baseball card is. It says, I decide when I'm tired of you being around.
Yeah.
So,
well, we can call this one early if you want.
And Kate, this last thing, and Kate says, and if you didn't actually say it or do it, AI will make you have said or done it. Oh, yes, and that the deep fake thing, that's a double-edged sword, because we're going to hear politicians get exposed for having said and done horrible things. This is going to happen. I don't think it's happened in a serious, high-level, meaningful way yet, but there will be a story soon where somebody is caught with their hand in the cookie jar, red-handed, doing something unforgivable. And their defense is going to be, I never did it. That's a deep fake. They'll be lying, and it will be impossible. It will be almost impossible to prove that they're lying. Now, a deep fake on that level, you can't just pull up like Sora or Revid or VO3 and make a deep fake that's quite that good that is also going to fool the forensic analysts that will go back and look at the metadata and study the generated evidence to determine whether or not it's a deep fake. But the technology to do that exists. And again, it's just like what I was saying with the baseball card thing. Right now, That level of deepfake technology exists, but it requires a powerful computer with a very powerful and expensive video processor and a high level of technical proficiency, both in computer science and in film production and media production, right? We are a scant few years away from deep fakes at that level being as simple as, hey Siri, make me a deep fake that gets the president impeached tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And one story. Kate asks, is the technology to expose it keeping up? So is basically the counter software? Yes. Okay. You can't use AI to determine if something's AI.
You can, but so much like antivirus software.
Yeah.
And it's a little different because there's some kind of planned obsolescence for antivirus software, but much like that, part of what AI is, and the scientists and engineers and technicians that are developing AI, part of what they're doing is they're working to develop it and train it so that it does a better and better job of blending into the world as you use it. God, I'm telling you, pop on ChatGPT and switch on the voice chat mode and just have a conversation about anything. You will be if you pay attention, you should find it alarming how fast you forget you're talking to a computer and not to a live person. And I use it a lot. I use it all the time, right? I use ChatGPT as my research assistant, production assistant, and I'm telling you, you switch it on to voice mode, and you're giving orders, you're delegating tasks, you're asking for advice, you're saying, hey, I want to talk about, like this morning I was using it. Hey, this weekend we're going to be talking about aesthetic philosophy, the importance of beauty, and the recognition of the transcendent. Pull me
Alfred from Batman is what it is.
Yeah, pull me a half a dozen philosophers that are on my side of this argument and a half a dozen that are on the other side of the argument, and let's work with those and steelman them. You do that for 5 or 10 minutes, and you'll be amazed how quickly it becomes difficult to remember that you're talking to an AI. So what that means for the question that Cade asked about whether or not the technology to expose it is keeping up, it can't keep up, because the way it works is the technology that exposes the AI when the AI is trying to be hidden in something like a deepfake, it develops to expose what the current capability is at the rate at which the current capability is becoming the last thing. Right? It's just like trying to develop counter tactics in military strategy. You cannot develop perfect counter strategies to every strategy.
The initiative is with the offense.
Right. You're getting into was it Cheney that got shit for saying, well, there's the known knowns, the unknown knowns, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns.
Donald
Rumsfeld, right? Yeah. He got a lot of flack for that, but that was not something he should have gotten flack for. He didn't phrase it especially well. But yes, when you're talking about strategy and tactics and developing against a mark, there are the unknown unknowns. They're like, so if you know where the enemy is today, that is a known known. I know this thing. If you don't know if you know when they're moving, that is a known known. If you don't know where they're moving to, that is an unknown known. I'm sorry, that is a known unknown. There is no unknown known. That is a known unknown. I know that I don't know where they're moving to, and I know that that's a piece of information that I need to have. But if they just summoned the Balrog to set up an ambush that you're going to walk into, that's an unknown unknown, because there is no world in which you would reasonably expect the jihadis to summon the Balrog, right? It's something that's just completely beyond what you could have even predicted they might have considered. There are things that you just, okay, we're going to find where these jihadis are setting in IEDs, and it hasn't occurred to us to ask them whether or not they're the Sith.
I have to go.
All right, brother. So Mario's going to leave us.
Yep.
Take care, brother. And I'll go ahead and put a pin in it there before I get too far down that particular rabbit hole and can't come back. So, guys, thanks for watching this morning. Stop apologizing. No, just I will not disavow. I will not apologize. People make jokes. Jokes are okay. Fantasizing about murdering your political opponent's children in front of him and watching them die in his wife's arms, that is somewhat less okay. In fact, I would go so far as to say that approach is unforgivable. So thanks for watching this morning, guys. Y'all be safe out there. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.